them talking about him when he first got to Indiana. Remember when Gordon Hayward was in Boston?
Yeah.
They were talking
Mhm.
about him getting moved for Oladipo and Miles Turner for Gordon Hayward. That was a conversation. That was in 2018.
This is this is crazy, and now he's
Yes.
in the NBA finals. So I think Indiana's done a great job of building. I think another coach that's kind of, and I'm glad to see some of these coaches as well kind of get their reputation back. Like Rick Carlisle was saying to you, I
Sure.
think when you move away from a very high, very ball dominant isolation, I don't know, guard forward, in Luca with the game, where you struggle to kind of build a defensive rotation around him.
Hmm.
I think now Rick Carter is really showing his coaching acumen, and I think now you can see it in the way they're playing in the finals. I mean, Indiana is a hard team to beat. Like even in that game yesterday, I mean, I think they lost by 20, they're 15 or something like that. But they
Hmm.
were really coming back and they were fighting. And I was thinking about it in the back of my head in this series. I think OKC will win out this series, and I think more games are going to be like game one than game two. And I think if they are like that, then OKC is going to have a problem. It's going to go to seven. I think that is how I feel about this series. But I think in terms of the NBA and the casual fan, I think what we're learning is that one of the issues that NBA has, in my opinion, is that it's a
Hmm.
nostalgia league, and they are too kind of hampered by the past. They can't get away from it. Every conversation we have is comparing this era to this era, this
Which
person to this
makes me
person.
nuts, Amari. Like I just read a ESPN stat. SGA is the first player since Rick Barry, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James that have 30 points and three steals. And I'm like, in '84, Bird went 29. He went 30 and three steals. He went 29 and two steals. He went 34 and three steals. I'm like, give me a break, man. Like,
Yeah,
why can't we just enjoy what SGA is doing? Why does this have to be he's the first player since these guys to do this? Or his
it,
first NBA finals? I mean, give me a break.
it's so strange to me, especially like being in like Europe. You don't really see when we watch, like, even when I watch American football coverage, and I can compare it to like football here, or like soccer as you would call it. Like, they don't cover the game in basketball the same way. Like, they cover it at NFL. I really do appreciate, for a person that doesn't really watch football. I only watch like the playoffs really,
Mm-hmm.
and how they cover the NFL in like it's a deep breakdown of like the plays, and they analyze everything with how everything is going on the field.
Yeah.
With basketball, it's almost like it's a recreational coverage. So when they kind of just bring out these arbitrary stats, for people to kind of get along with what's going on in the game, it's like, I don't really care, to be honest with you, around about what, not to be disrespectful, I don't really care what Rick Barry did in 1972. I care about what's happening tonight, saying to you, like,
Right.
can you break the game down? What plays is Shea doing? Like, and I feel like this the reason why the ratings are so low, because they don't know how to market these guys. And
Right.
they're getting failed by the NBA to be marketed, in that sense. I think the casual fan is watching, how many people are watching these games. I think if you were watching OKC and Indiana all season, you're definitely impressed with how they're playing tonight for the last couple of games. But I feel like NBA is way too driven by the past. If you really want to market, take Tyrese. Anthony Edwards probably got a little bit of personal issues off the court, but he's got a great game. You
Yep.
had all of these guys in the conference finals. You had Anthony Edwards in the conference finals. You had Tyrese Halliburton, Jalen Brunson. You had
Mm-hmm.
SGA, all in the conference finals. To me, those are your four guys probably of the future in that sense. They're all under what? They're all under 25? No, all under 28.
That's what I was about to ask you too, Amari, because you seem pretty adamant about like these two teams. Like you think that they're getting back. Why these two teams in particular? Like on what in the next 5 years, from 25 to 30, what makes you think that these two teams you're going to see them back in the finals at some point?
Couple of reasons. I think OKC is the roster,
Yep.
and also the fact that they will win a championship very, very young. I think if they was to win a championship, they'll be the youngest team to ever win an NBA championship, if
Mm-hmm.
I'm correct. I think that might,
Since the Blazers in '77, that's correct.
yeah. So I think that if they do win it, I think that they have enough time before the contract situation starts to really kick them in the ass, basically, when they start having to pay all of these players on the team. So I think they have enough time before a lot of these guys come off their first 5-year extensions, where they have to sign that 2-year extension they'll get off for 7 years.
Yep.
They have enough time to get back there as long as everybody can stay healthy. I think what you're really seeing at these long playoff runs are starting to kill some of these players like Jason Tatum, who have been in the finals for a very long time. So if
5
they can
times in
get
7 years, he's been in the East
five
Final.
times 7 years, remember, OKC has been to the conference finals 2 times in the last 3 years, and they're now in the NBA finals. So I think that OKC have enough
Well, they were in the
time with their
semifinals last year. They weren't in. They
semifinals.
weren't. Yeah, they were in the
They,
semifinals last year. They weren't in the West Finals, but they were in the
oh yeah,
semifinals.
not in the West finals. Sorry, my bad.
Sure,
But
no problem.
now OKC to me has the opportunity where they have a young enough players with experience to get back to the finals. Because the last team that was young that had experience to get back to the final was coincidentally the Celtics. So
Sure.
they will, I think OKC will get back there. I think what's killed the Celtics is the fact that they've not just had deep runs, they've had long, deep runs, that they've had game sevens in conference finals, coming back from 0-3 down against the Miami Heat. Those are on your legs. I wouldn't be surprised if Jaylen Brown was to break down next season because he's been doing this longer than Tatum.
Well, he's got
But
a meniscus injury where he's going to have to get that dealt with over the summer, and it's going to take him some time to get back before he's ready before the season starts. But I
yeah,
remember it's interesting you mentioned that, Amar, because I remember Joe Dumas talking about that when he was with the Pistons, where 87, 88, 89, 90, 91. Like every year we playing till late May, early June,
yeah.
and after a while, it starts to wear on you that you're going
And
that deep in the playoffs every
and it's
year.
and it's crazy because again, all of these teams outside of OKC, if you look at it, Minnesota has been to the conference finals back-to-back years. New York, did they go to the conference final last year? Was it semifinals they lost in last year?
Who's that? Oklahoma City?
New York. Did
The
New York go to
Knicks?
the
Yeah,
conference finals
they lost to Indiana in the semifinals.
in the semifinals? So these
Yes, sir.
teams have been going fairly deep into the playoffs. With Indiana, I just trust their coaching and the way that they've built this team. And I
Yep.
really like a lot of the players on this team in Indiana. So I think they'll be back because to me they've had sustainable builds. They haven't done anything to me that would indicate a team that's panicking. The only thing that I would say about Indiana that I would be concerned of as an NBA fan and watching it, I don't want to judge this team by the results of the NBA finals. And the reason why I say that is because I don't think that this team is going to win a championship, even if they get back to the finals. So, but I hope Indiana doesn't overreact to how they respond in the finals, thinking that they are closer than they actually are, kind of
And they
like the
got and
Atlanta
they
Hawks
do
did.
something drastic and screw the team up.
Exactly.
Sure.
Like Atlanta did when they went to the conference finals. They
Yeah,
thought Atlanta thought they were closer than what they was.
they weren't.
So I think that Indiana just need to just stay the course of this team, not make anything drastic, and trust Tyrese Halliburton to get them back there. And I also think another team that will be in the fold again is New York. New York,
I think
you
they'll be back
fired
in the other too.
Tom Thibodeau. You finally got rid of the man who doesn't care about people's bodies. And I think that in terms of those type of teams, I think the teams that have done the sustainable builds,
Mm-hmm.
like I think that is the future of the NBA, because we know how this kind of second apron is killing these teams with
So
players.
I was just about to say that to you, Amari. So two things. Number one, Turner comes off the books after this year, and Indiana's looking to sign him back. That's going to put them in the second apron. Now, the second apron is a death sentence. The plus side to the second apron for Indiana is they're a first-time offender. So this isn't one of those situations where they find themselves where they got to pay $5 on the dollar in taxes, right?
Yeah,
You still end up losing the mid-level exception guy. You still end up losing the buyout market, right? You still end up losing that stuff. You still will pay a high tax bill, but because you're not a repeat offender, I mean, you might be able to sustain it for a season, but I don't think that it's something that's sustainable for a long time for a market like Indiana. That's number
it
one.
will, it
That,
might
that
not be.
that's number one. Number two, I'm thinking to myself, you're in a space now because of the parity that we have that these teams that are close, like for example, you just mentioned like a team like Atlanta thinking that they're closer than they really are. We're in a space where we've seen these different champions throughout the course of the course of this era, where a team might make one move and they right back in the middle of it.
Yeah,
But I'm also a fan of the idea of what Houston is doing, where they got these guys on rook deals and they're building something, and it feels like it can be sustainable for a long time. I just worry about these teams that like Houston, where they want to strike where the iron is hot and end up making a move that cripples them, like trading for KD or some shit like that. So, unfortunately, anyway, Mario, it was good to talk to you, brother.
no problem.
I know where to find you. Good to talk to
Yeah,
you, brother.
take it
Yep. What up? What up?
Hello, Joe. How you doing?
What up?
Good to see you.
You.
Good to talk to you today. Basically, I wanted to talk about just kind of the schematics of the finals and what I've been seeing. I think the first half of the first game really showed me exactly how this finals was going to go, particularly for the Pacers offense. I thought,
The first
like,
half of game one.
yeah,
Okay,
and
I'm
then
following.
the reason why I say that is because like the Pacers did a really good job at the end of that game, um, like sticking to their game plan, and
Sure.
their game plan is basically a lot of pick and roll, a lot of face up stuff, a lot of pass to that guy that's on that fade, stuff like that consistently. But OKC is very very good at that, at compounding that. That's one of the best things that they are at as a defense, my bad.
Okay.
Um, just recovering and moving on that side. So I think the biggest thing with the Pacers is like Nemhard and Matherin and Halliburton. They need to be aggressive off the pick and roll, because if you try to go inside, you know what's going to happen with that. You're going to get stuffed. And if you try to pass out, these guys are so good at recovering that you're not going to get the shots that you want on a consistent basis. And I think Nemhard and Matherin have done a decent job of being aggressive off the pick and roll, but I feel like they have to just continue to try to do that. And then Halliburton, I think you brought up some good points. Like as a facilitator, he's elite. But this OKC team is so good at recovering. They're so good at getting to Siakam in the paint that you have to be able to be aggressive in some sort of way. And I think one thing that you'll attest to is not as a player specifically in how they play, but I look at Halliburton kind of like a Reggie Miller in the sense of he's not a guy that is a top 5, top 10 offensive player at his peak, but he can give you those moments in the playoffs because he can make clutch shots and he can hit shots that you don't even think of most players like could hit shots like that. You know what I mean? I've seen Halliburton like in the Knicks series, stuff like that. So I feel like Halliburton gets to tap into that a little bit, but I also feel like too, Carlisle, this system. I mean, this is stuff that they've been doing for years now. You look at a guy like Nemhard. The reason why he's so good now at shooting is because they've given him 30 minutes a game the last 2-3 years. And now all those shots, he's been taking those shots for 3 years now. So like they have to continue to stay with the game plan, but Halliburton has to be a little bit more aggressive. Nemhard has to continue to be aggressive. Nemhard has been really good. I like what I'm seeing from him in this series.
I just think that they play so much better off of Halliburton as opposed to when Halliburton gives them the ball and now they have to go. And what it reminds me a lot of with Halliburton, and I don't know if you heard me say this, but what it reminds me of a quarterback coming out of center and he's got to hit the hot read. Like he doesn't have time to go through his progressions. Okay, this guy's not open. This guy's not open, but this guy. I feel like their offense is starting a lot higher. Tyrese Halliburton, when he comes off that screen, like you talked about, well, they have guards that jump him and they push him further away from the basket. So he's got to go to the first read. He doesn't have an opportunity to see Siakam. And if Siakam's not open, he doesn't have an opportunity to see anybody on the cross court off the strength that this thing is happening so fast and Oklahoma City is swerving so quickly, and these guys are on a string and they shoot gaps where if something was open a half a second ago, it's closed now. So when you're coming off screens, you already have to have your mind made up of what's going on. If I'm coming off this screen, if they're switching, I'm splitting it. If I'm coming off this screen and it's 2 guards, I want to get 2 guards where I think I can take Isaiah Joe. I can take Wiggins. I'm not looking for action where I got Caruso or Casey Wallace. I'm not looking for that kind of action. So I feel like this Indiana team, they got to figure out how to speed the game up though, because that's their bread and butter.
Because I was going to say, Siakam. Also, that was my other thing. They have to find a way for him to push the pace, because I feel like with Chet in the half court, he's so much better as a rim protector than and he's still good, don't get me wrong, but I feel like where he struggles, if you can get him to run and then go at him, it's kind of like the same way I kind of look at Luka, in the sense of Luka isn't horrible when you make that first move, but if you can get a second, get a counter, and then continue to run at him, he gives up. And Chet is way better as a defender, but I feel like because of his size and like his skinniness, that's the way that you attack. But I feel like Siakam can do that, but he has to be aggressive with it. And then with him, he's got to take some of those threes. Like I feel like that's going to open the game up. And if he's continuing to hit them, then you got to try him. But I think they do have to stick to the game plan though, because in a defense like this,
what else is
you
there,
have
Mike?
to stick with what works.
What else do we have though? It's not like we got a plan B and a plan. This is what we've been doing all year long.
Yeah, exactly.
We're a fast-paced team who, when we play in the half court, Tyrese Halliburton, he runs our offense. He's the one who gets Obi Toppin and Siakam and all of these guys involved. We play through him and we play off of him, right? And he's not a big-time scorer. I mean, this is who we are. You stop that. What I equated to Jabal. Jabal had one move. Stop this and you stop me. He played 20 years. This is who Indiana is. We play fast. Our half-court offense involves a lot of ball movement, some go-getters. The reason why I feel like this Oklahoma City team is going to win this thing is because they counter everything that Indiana does at a high level. I think that's
it's just too much. And the last thing I wanted to say, strictly off of like SGA and just their offense, I look at their offenses, SGA and Mark Diagonal. And it's not just that. You've obviously got other guys. You've got J-Dub, you've got Chet, but the way that they're able to run sets for those guys. And J-Dub's really the only other guy that you can like give the ball like not a majority, but a good amount to, and like he can get a little bit of a shot, but he is a little bit inconsistent. But I still like how he's playing because his defense is still really good. You have a guy like that who's a little bit volatile as an offensive player, but he's so good defensively. I mean, like, that's a perfect fit with Shea for the future. But I feel like a lot of people, just aren't giving Shea enough credit. I feel like as a facilitator, I'm not saying specifically you, but I just feel like we've seen this guy.
I don't, to be honest with you, Michael. I don't give him enough credit as a passer. I don't. I really don't.
And it's not like Luka level, but what I will say is you look at last year and the year before, and you see a guy who can get a bucket. We know he can get a bucket. We've been on that for a while now. But now it's like he's making the decisions, I would say 85 to 90% correctly. And when you do that, now you open up this offense to the way it truly should be, because as good as some of these guys are as rotation players, there's not another guy that is even close to what Shea can give you with the ball in his hands. And I feel like a lot of lead guards would crumble in this offense. Like I really do. And I feel like defensively, the impact that and the help that they provide Shea is unmatched, I would say, compared to a lot of teams of all time. But I do think offensively, what he does, having the ball in his hands as much as he does and not making mistakes and continuing to shoot well, it's like, I mean, it's
pretty
up
impressive.
there.
Yes, it definitely is. But Michael, I got to go, brother. But it's good to talk to you, my man. Appreciate it.
Good to talk to you.
Yep. What up?
My bad. Oh, damn. I had my thing was on the train.
What up?
What's going on? I'm continuing my farewell tour from Brooklyn. I ain't tell you, I'm moving this month. Next month I'm gonna be out of Brooklyn. I'm gonna be a resident of Texas, bro.
You moving to Texas?
Yeah, I'm moving to Texas. Yeah. So
right.
the move is official. Eventually I'm gonna move in with my lady friend and her daughter. And
what part of Texas you going to, Lee?
Snyder, Texas. Yeah, that's it's closest to Lubbock. So if you can find Texas Tech University, you can find me.
Okay.
So yeah,
they got some
just
good
a point.
Good hoop.
Yeah, they do. It's more of a football town, but they definitely got some more good hood. But to speak on to speak on the series, I guess a little bit. I said this shit was open 5. I said it's only a matter of time before the real Oklahoma City Thunder team shows who they are to Indiana. As you said before, we both on the same page in terms of them being able to counter-react anything Indiana is throwing at them, bro. Like, I mean, in terms of transition and in terms of they basic pick and roll, they basic action that they run. OKC has everything to counter-react what they're doing.
If you're a boxer, how do you, if your jab is a huge part of your offense and you popping me with that jab and it ain't doing nothing, I'm just countering that. Like, how can you keep rolling?
I don't know. Go ask Tommy Hearns. How did he keep rolling against Marvin Hagler, bro? When Marvin Hagler took his very best,
he kept popping Marvin with that. He kept popping Marvin with that.
Right here,
and
right here,
kept coming.
I'm pretty sure you remember that fight because that's my father's favorite boxer, Marvin Hagler. He opened him up right here.
He kept coming. He kept coming at him.
If that's today, that fight is over.
Yeah, they stopped it.
Back in the 80s,
no,
he opened him up right here. Marvin Hagler said,
"I'm good. I'm all right.
I'm good. I'm all right." He let him break his hand and said, "You're done, man. You're done, my man. You're done. That's it. That's it." And that's what I'm looking at this series as. This is basically Tommy Hearns versus Marvin Hagler. Anything that Indiana is going to throw or think they're going to throw at them in this series,
we got it.
It's not going to work.
We got it, yo.
It's going to get counter-reacted. Now, a topic that I do want to get on, man, because you know I got to be negative before I get up out of here. Everybody keeps saying, yo, what team should KD? The KD and Giannis thing is more of a thing that's coming up this offseason. People gotta be aware of how difficult it is to build a team around Giannis. That's number one, because first off, you need shooters at all the other four positions. That's number one. That's one of the big parts. And the thing is, when I look at San Antonio, I think you're halfway there because Wemby wants to chuck up 9 to 10 threes a game. That's just me personally.
I hate that, man.
And I know you hate it. I know you hate it, but at the same time, this is where the game is going. We're gonna see more teams like Indiana and Boston. We seen it last year. They had 5 dudes that could shoot it from way downtown and go get their own bucket. Indiana has that in this series. The problem is they playing the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's the goddamn problem. Now, in terms of KD, where you at? Chilltown. You live in Florida now, right? Yeah, that's where he should go, to Florida. You know what he should go to Florida to do? Retire. Take your bitch ass home. I don't want to see you no more. Why are you sucking up the air in the room? Yo, Chilltown, is it me or it just seems like your homie LeBrownies, Steph Curry and Kevin Durant, they like the dudes that graduated college 4 years ago and still hanging out on campus. Get the hell off my school.
What y'all still doing?
Why are you sucking up the air in the room? Just go home. Go home. We're done with you, bro. You an alumni. You don't even put in no bread here. You don't send no money. You don't fund no money to the front office. You don't fund no money to the organization. You're not leaving the game in a better place. Why?
But they are. I mean, they are leaving the game because without KD,
bullshit.
No, without KD, we don't have Paul George. We don't have Brandon Ingram. We don't have Brandon Miller. We don't have guys like that without KD. And, Curry, we don't have guys like Trae Young. Like, we don't have guys like that. I mean, they're very much inspirations. However, to your point, Leaf, I mean, there does come a time when it's coming up on that time, guys. Like, what you still doing here? Like, what? Like, why is it? I remember Kobe Bryant. He said that he said that they was playing Sacramento when he looked up in the rafters and he saw Chris Webber and Divock's jersey. He like, what the hell am I still doing here?
Why are you still here?
What am I still doing?
The dudes that you ran through, they are going, LeBron, Carmelo Anthony is going into the Hall of Fame this year. Why are you still here? D-Wade is a Hall of Famer. Bosh is a Hall of Famer. These are the dudes that you got drafted with. Why are you still here? I tell you why you're still here. Because you like to control. You like to be in control of shit. You like people kissing your ass and telling you, hey, LeBron, it's all right, man. You want to bring Bronny in school? Hey, Bronny, you can start school.
I do. I think
it better be his last year, bro. And I personally believe if he goes on a damn farewell tour, I'll let that he get booed in every damn city. Just for wasting our damn time.
I'm good.
Suck ass.
I know you want to leave. All right, brother.
Get out.
What up?
What up, Chair? How you doing?
What's up, brother? How you doing, my man?
Good, man. I think it's just like you said, it has been a good series. I think for sure now we can say that the Big Three era is definitely officially over. I'm not saying...
Is it though, BD? Because I keep hearing people tell me that Giannis is getting traded to here and this guy, KD, is getting... I think it's over. I think the days of the bomb squads getting made generically, that's over.
Nah, I think it's over too. And, with the whole new salary cap, and I got a follow-up question in regards to that. I think with just how the whole setup is, I think I really love this type of basketball. Young players, playing great basketball. And another thing too, it holds front offices accountable on drafting. One unpopular opinion I have is I really feel like the foundation that the New Orleans Pelicans built a few years ago with Lonzo, Brandon Ingram, Zion, Herb Jones,
I
they
thought
could
they
have
was
been in
on to
that
something.
same.
I
Yeah,
thought they was on to something.
I thought they were on to some too, just like how Houston's doing it right now. Young players, playing great with each other. Good coach. I like Willie Green. I think he's gotten a bad share over the past year with all their injuries, but yeah, salute to the Pacers and to the Oklahoma City Thunder, especially to their front office. I think
Sure.
that's a now one question I have for you, Chill. Man, I think Oklahoma City's in a great position over the next few years, but there's one kryptonite, if you ask me. They're an all-time great defense, superstar point guard. It's cap, not it's salary cap. And I believe SGA is going to be eligible for a 5-year, $380 million contract.
76
Now,
million a season.
now, let me ask you, Chill. You are in SGA shoes. You want to prove something. Jalen Brown was highest paid, then Tatum. Now it's you. But at the same time, I got this young talent around me. Caruso's making about 9 million this year, but remember he got an extension last year, so he's gonna bump up to 20-some mil. Chet's gonna get paid. What do you do, Chill? You gonna take that 380 and get that label, or are you gonna take a pay cut like Brunson did in a way and try to build something special?
It depends on it depends on what we are trying to do. Because don't forget, J-Dub is up after next season too.
Yep.
And he made the all pro team and he made the all defensive team too. So he's up for a substantial raise. Now,
Yeah.
the question is do I take, instead of going to 350, do I go to 300 and leave some money on the table for the rest of these guys? Or do I take all the bread, because it's going to cripple them? I can tell you that right now. These guys are not going to. If SGA signs that supermax extension, and then J-Dub is up next year, and he's eligible for a supermax extension, that's going to cripple them.
Yeah, that's that kryptonite right there.
It's going to
It's
cripple
not.
them 100%.
Yeah.
It is. They're not going to be able to sustain that. So
Exactly.
if I'm SGA, I'm going to be
Mhm.
honest with you, BD. I got to get what I can get while I can get it. I do. I gotta
Ooh-wee.
get what I gotta get while I can get. I gotta get while I gotta get. In the words of my man Biggie Smalls, ain't no guarantee that they're gonna love you. So you gotta
No,
get what you can
no,
get when you can get it.
no, not building a dynasty. That's not something you buy into. Because remember, this is the
I don't think it's going on in
same.
this era. I don't, because of the CBA. I don't think it's
Yeah,
gonna happen in this era. I don't.
it's the
Mm-mm.
same ownership too. That remember they let Harden go not for 4 mil a year, but for 4 million when they were trying to bring back Ibaka and James, and then they offered James Harden that contract extension, but they were 4 million apart, and that's what caused them. Because I think they would have been over the luxury tax if they did re-sign him to what he was asking for. So
They ended up saving $30 million, letting James Harden go. Now
yeah, it's a
remember,
small market.
exactly, Oklahoma City at that point. I don't know if you heard me say this, but Oklahoma City at that point, they were the 41st market
Mm,
in the country. Like $30 million is a lot of money in 2012.
it
It might
is
not be that much today, but in 2012, that was a lot of dough to save. A lot.
100%. Yep.
So, I
I
mean,
know
I
what.
I can't say with 100% certainty that I'm turning that money down, because I'm thinking to myself, like what Jordan was making, but these guys were making the going rate. It wasn't like Jordan was taking pay cuts. He wasn't.
Hmm.
He was making the going rate of what guys was getting. It
Yeah.
wasn't until he came back to basketball that he was like, yo, I'm really gonna get paid.
Yeah.
Like,
Give
it
me that
wasn't like he was getting
33.
pennies. No,
Yeah.
the dough he was making the same dough as Drex
Hmm.
and guys like that. Yes, he was making the going rate. It wasn't
Yep.
like all of a sudden Jordan is just, he getting pennies on a dollar. No, he's not. That wasn't going on. So,
Yeah.
all right,
It's gonna
BD.
be. Appreciate it,
I know where to
Chill. I
find
know
you
where
at,
to
brother.
find you.
No
Yes,
doubt.
sir.
So, yeah, man. I feel like we're in a space with this Oklahoma City team, And just not this, and not this Oklahoma City team, but just in the NBA with this new CBA. This new CBA is going to throw a monkey wrench in a lot of teams being able to stay together. They're not just they just aren't going to be able to do that, unfortunately. So, speaking of staying, it's about that time for me, guys. I got to bounce. It was good to see you guys tonight. You know where to find me. If I'm not here, I'm on TikTok every morning, 9 a.m. Good Morning NBA. If I'm not there, you can find me on the Players Choice Network right here on YouTube. 11 to 2 on the panel. If I'm not there, you can find me weeknights right here on the Chilltown Hoops Network. Me and my man Tony Tone, we do it on Tuesday night on the Sports Fluent Network and the Chilltown Hoops Network. And if I'm not here, you can find me and my man Big Ox. We do it on Thursday and Saturday, 4 o'clock on Thursday, 12 o'clock p.m. on Saturday. So I am not hard to find, guys. I will see you soon. Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. When's the last time you talked to your mother? Call your mother. I will talk to you guys soon. But until then, take it light. But take it. Absolutely, man. It was good to see you guys tonight. This was dope.